Good morning students, welcome back to the video lecture series of numerical methods in chemical engineering. Till now we have studied chapter number 1, that was errors and approximations. We studied about different types of errors, we studied about definitions. We have also solved some numericals on the basis of the errors. Okay, now next is solution of algebraic and transcendental equations. What we have to do in this chapter, we have to find the roots of the algebraic and transcendental equations. But before starting, you should know what is the meaning of algebraic and transcendental equation. Okay, till now we have studied what is an algebraic equation, what is an algebraic polynomial. Before going to the equation, we have to first of all understand what is the meaning of algebraic polynomial. Now, what is the meaning of algebraic polynomial? The polynomial consists of different terms in which coefficients are there and the powers of x are there in the reducing order. Right, so algebraic polynomial can be expressed in the form of an x raised to n, and we have to continuously decrease the powers of x. For example, if I am starting from x raised to 4, then it will be reduced to x raised to 3, x raised to 2, x raised to 1, and so on. Okay, so x is the variable and n is the exponent. The condition is what? The n should be always positive integer, then only it is known as algebraic polynomial. Okay, if we expand the polynomial, we can get f of x is equal to an xn plus an minus 1, x raised to n minus 1, an minus 2, x raised to n minus 2, and so on up to a0. Fine, because x raised to 0 is 1. So this is algebraic polynomial, and if I am writing equals to 0, it will become equation. So what is the difference between expression and equation? There is one equal to in the equation, but in expression there is no equal to. For example, if I am writing x cube minus 5x plus 7, so this is algebraic expression, but if I am writing x cube minus 5x plus 7 equals to 0, then it will become an equation. So algebraic equation consists of algebraic polynomial. Okay, so the algebraic equation consists of algebraic polynomial. These are the few examples of that. X cube minus x minus 1 equals to 0, then x cube plus 4x square minus 10 equals to 0. So these are some of the examples of algebraic equation. Then the next one is transcendental equation. Now what is the meaning of transcendental equation? The transcendental equation consists of trigonometric function, then exponential function, then logarithmic functions. Okay, so these type of equations that consist of these type of functions is known as transcendental equation. For example, cos x minus cos x equal to 0, or x minus log x minus 7 equal to 0. These are some of the examples of transcendental equation. Now, till now you have studied different types of methods through which we can find the roots of the algebraic equation. For example, if I am writing x square minus 4x plus 4 equals to 0, then how to solve this equation? I know that x minus 2 whole square equal to 0. This equation is x minus 2 whole square equals to 0. So what will be my value of x? The value of x will be 2. Okay, 2 or again 2. So this is the solution, right? But how can you solve this transcendental equation? Can you solve this transcendental equation directly? If x minus cos x equal to 0 is given, can you solve that directly? No. So for that purpose we require different methods to solve these type of algebraic and transcendental equation, that is used in numerical methods. Okay, we are going to study different types of methods. Let us study the classification of the methods to find the roots of the equation. Okay, roots of the equation can be found with the help of iterative methods. There are basically two types of iterative methods: bracketing methods and open methods. And the methods till now that we were using are direct methods. Okay, direct method in the sense, for example, as I told you, x square minus 4x plus 4 equals to 0 is given. You have to directly remember that it is the whole square of x minus 2. So we can find the solution directly. or we can also use that formula, that characteristic equation. If quadratic equation is given, then how you can find the roots of the quadratic equation? See, if any quadratic equation is given, ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, how we can solve this quadratic equation? So there is a formula. X is equal to minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So this is known as the characteristic equation, and this is used to solve the quadratic equation in which there are two unknown roots. Now if three unknown roots are there, if the equation is in the form of ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d equals to 0, then we can solve this with the help of synthetic division. Okay, in this way we can find the solution directly. Let us study the direct and iterative methods in detail. This is the difference between the direct and iterative methods. See, the direct method can solve the numerical by a finite sequence of operations. By remembering the method, by remembering the formula, we can easily solve with the help of direct method. While in iterative method, any numerical can be solved by number of iterations. We have to continuously perform the same operation again and again and again. And initial guess is there. By guessing the initial root, on the basis of that we are continuously finding the number of iterations. Okay. One more thing, direct method will give us the exact solution if any round of error is not there. It will give the exact solution, while iterative methods will give approximate solution. We are not able to get the exact solution, but we can get the approximate solution with the help of the iterative methods, right? Now, which are the iterative methods? See, iterative methods again are of two types. If we consider the methods to find the roots of the equation, in iterative methods there are two types, that is bracketing methods and open methods. Now, as the name suggests, bracketing and open, what is the meaning of bracketing method? In bracketing method, we are defining an interval in between which the root lies. For example, any given equation is there, f of x is equal to 0 is given. I have to define an interval in which my root lies. Okay, so it is an interval a comma b. Okay, so in this interval my root will lie, and this is known as bracketing method because a bracket is there in which the upper limit and the lower limit of the root is already given. Fine. Then in open method we do not require any type of interval, we only require one or two initial guesses. On the basis of the given equation, we have to guess that the root of the equation will be this. So initial guess is there, and on the basis of initial guess we have to find the solution. So this is known as open method because we are not defining the interval, right? Some examples of bracketing method that we are going to study in this chapter are bisection method, regular falsi method, while two methods are of open methods like Newton-Raphson method and secant method. So basically 4 methods we have to study in this chapter: bisection method, regular falsi method, Newton-Raphson method and secant method. Easily get that the given methods are bracketing or open with the help of this classification or with the help of this difference. Okay. Bracketing methods are slower compared to the open methods. Open methods are faster because we are not waiting for the bracket to minimize. What we are doing in the bracketing method, we are first of all defining the interval in which our root lies, then we have to reduce the size of the interval, and this is very time consuming. These type of methods will converge very late. Converge late means what? The root will be obtained after many steps. While in open methods, we will get the roots of the equation within 2 to 3 steps, right? So we can say open methods are faster than the bracketing methods. So this was about the difference between the bracketing and the open methods. You have also got that which methods are bracketing and which are open. And why they are bracketing, why they are open, that is also very much clear with the help of this. Okay students, let us start with the first method of this chapter, that is bisection method. See this is one of the most simplest and one of the most reliable method to solve the non-linear equations. It is also known as Bolzano or half interval method. Why it is known as half interval, that we will study in the next slide. It is one bracketing method because an interval is defined in which the root lies. Okay, fine. Let us study this method graphically. So first of all we are considering x-axis, then y-axis. A curve y is equal to f of x is given. Okay, y is equal to f of x intersects the x-axis at alpha. So we can say alpha is the given root of the equation. Alpha is the exact root of the equation, right? F of x equal to 0 is the given equation. We have to find the value of x. And what is the exact value of x? The exact value of x is alpha. Fine. Okay. Now to start this method, as I told you, we need one interval. How we can get the lower value? How we can get the two values in the interval? Let us consider two values a and b. How to select that a and b? Okay, let us consider two values a and b. Here I am taking a and this value I am taking as b. But the condition is what? The value of f of a should be less than 0 and the value of f of b should be, f of b might be here, okay. So value of f of b should be greater than 0. So to find the root of the equation, this is the necessary condition that a and b should be taken such that the value of f of a should be less than 0 and the value of f of b should be greater than 0. Now we have got one interval AB. Okay, we have got one interval AB. So this is my interval AB. Now what we have to do? We have to divide this interval in two parts. We have to divide this interval in two parts. We have to bisect the interval in between. So if we will bisect, I can bisect here. To find the midpoint of this, that is x0. And how I can find the midpoint? X0 is equal to a plus b by 2. See, we are bisecting the interval, so this method is known as half interval method. Okay, here was my a, here was my b, and somewhere over here I am getting my x0. So now we have to reduce the size of the interval. How we can reduce the size of the interval? By finding f of x0. We have to find f of x0. In this case, this is our x0 and here I will get f of x0. Now we have to reduce this interval. How we can reduce this interval? This interval can be x0 comma b or this interval can be a comma x0 on the basis of the function value. If the function value is negative, if f of x0 is negative, then I can say my root lies between x0 and b. Why? Because the condition is what? The left hand side, the function value should be negative and the right hand side, the function value should be positive. So if my f of x0 is negative, then my root lies between x0 and b. So my interval will be reduced to x0 comma b, and if my f of x0 is greater, for example x0 is, I am getting x0 here, then I can say my root lies between a and x0. But in this case we will consider our root between x0 and b. Once again I am repeating what we are doing. See, first of all we are taking two values a and b. Okay, this is the interval between which the root lies. Then we are finding x0. Then on the basis of f of x0, If f of x0 is negative, then root lies between x0 and b, and if f of x0 is positive, then root lies between a and x0. So we have to reduce the size of the interval, and we have to find different approximations by bisecting the interval in between. For example, my interval is x0 comma b, then I have to bisect it, and after bisecting, find x1. Again, reduce the interval, find next approximation. So in this way, by continuously finding the approximations, we have to reach to the nearest value of alpha, and alpha is the exact root. So we can get the approximate solution of the equation by bisecting the interval in two parts. So what is the method? Interval, bisect. Okay, find the function value. If function value is negative, then reduce the interval from left hand side. If function value is positive, then reduce the interval from right hand side. Okay, so we have to find the approximations, and we have to reach up to alpha. If possible, you will get the exact value of alpha. If error is not there, then you will get nearest value to the alpha, and that is known as approximate value. And by finding these approximations and repeating this process again, you will get the final answer, that is approximate root of alpha. Okay, I hope it is clear to everyone. This was about the theory of bisection method. In the next lecture, we are going to study 2 or 3 numericals on the basis of bisection method. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.